The Adventures of Dominoe. The value of believing in yourself. Dominoe was a 10-year-old girl with a big dream. She wanted to be fast. She was on her school's track team, and her favorite event was the 220-meter hurdles, where runners must jump over hurdles while racing down the track. But there was one small problem. Dominoe wasn't very fast, and she often found herself finishing last. At practice, Dominoe gave it her all, but it seemed like the harder she tried, the slower she felt. Her teammates noticed too. They would giggle and whisper, "Dominoe is so slow. She'll never win a race." Wendy, the fastest girl on the team, was the worst. Their words hurt, but Dominoe tried not to let it show. She loved running, even if she wasn't the fastest. One Saturday, Dominoe had a big track meet. Her grandfather, who used to be a star runner in college, came to watch her race. He stood tall in the stands, waving and smiling, making Dominoe feel just a little less nervous. But she could still hear the other girls talking about her. The race began. The starting pistol fired, and Dominoe took off as fast as her legs could carry her. She jumped over the hurdles, pushing herself harder than ever. But by the time she reached the finish line, she was in last place again. The other girls laughed and pointed, but Dominoe held her head high as she walked off the track. Her heart sank, though. She couldn't help but feel like she had let herself and her grandfather down. After the meet, her grandfather took her out for ice cream, like he always did after a race. They sat on a bench outside the ice cream shop, and Dominoe stared at her cone, feeling defeated. "Grandpa," she said quietly, "I tried so hard, but I'm just not fast enough. I'll never win." Her grandfather looked at her, his eyes kind and wise. "Dominoe, do you know what made me a great runner?" She shook her head, expecting him to talk about speed. "It wasn't just about being fast," her grandfather said. "It was about believing in myself. I wasn't always the fastest at first, but I believed I could improve. I worked hard, set small goals, and little by little I got faster." Dominoe frowned. "But the other girls are so much better than me. It feels like no matter what I do, I can't catch up." Her grandfather smiled. "Speed comes with time, but attitude comes first. If you believe in yourself, work hard, and focus on getting just a little better each time, you'll see progress." Dominoe went back to the track. She heard her grandfather's words. "Don't compare yourself to them. Focus on beating your own time. Start small, like 1 second faster, then 10 seconds. Before you know it, you'll surprise yourself." Maybe she wasn't the fastest yet, but she could set small goals and get better little by little. From that day on, Dominoe practiced with a new focus. Every day, she aimed to run just a little faster than the day before. She worked on her form, her breathing, and her attitude. Most importantly, she reminded herself to believe she could improve. Weeks passed, and soon it was time for the state-wide track meet. Dominoe stood at the starting line, feeling the familiar flutter of nerves in her stomach. She could hear the other girls teasing her again, but this time she ignored them. She was focused on her own race, her own lane, and the hurdles ahead. The starting pistol cracked through the air, and Dominoe sprang from the blocks, running faster than ever before. She jumped each hurdle smoothly and crossed the finish line in 3rd place in her first heat. She couldn't believe it. The girls who once teased her looked at her in surprise, and in the stands her grandfather smiled, giving her a thumbs up. In the next heat, Dominoe felt even more confident. When the race began, she pushed herself even harder, flying over the hurdles. When she reached the finish line, she had come in 2nd. She beamed with pride, feeling stronger with each race. Finally, it was time for the last heat. This would be the toughest race of the day. Dominoe stood at the starting blocks, her heart pounding, her focus sharp. Suddenly, as Dominoe neared the last hurdle, Wendy clipped her foot on the hurdle and stumbled to the ground. Dominoe slowed down. The other runners passed her. Wendy lay on the track, stunned and hurt. Dominoe looked back at Wendy and then ahead to the finish line. She could still do it. She could win. She remembers her grandfather's words, "If you fall down, get back up." Dominoe ran back to Wendy. "Come on, Wendy," she said. "We've got a race to finish." Dominoe pulled Wendy up. The two girls sprint over the last hurdle and cross the finish line, coming behind all the other runners. After the race, her grandfather was waiting for her with a big smile on his face. He took her for ice cream just like before. As they sat on the bench, Dominoe couldn't help but feel disappointed. "Grandpa, I lost," she said, staring down at her cone. "How can you still be proud of me?" Her grandfather leaned down and looked her in the eyes. "Dominoe, I'm proud of you because you didn't give up. You believed in yourself, you set goals, and when you saw someone else falter, you helped them get back up. Winning isn't just about finishing first. It's about how you finish, and pushing through even when things get tough." Dominoe smiled, understanding what her grandfather meant. She hadn't won the race, but she had won something bigger. She had learned to believe in herself, no matter what. From that day on, Dominoe kept running, kept working hard, and kept believing. And no matter how many times she stumbled, she always got back up.